If music seems complicated and it seems like too much, and all of the notes are just too much to memorize and it's a bit overwhelming, the last thing the very last thing you probably want to do is learn a bunch of intellectual rules and scales and chords and structures and intervals and all of this like mumbo jumbo, uh, because that's just going to make it more complicated. However, I like to push back on that. Um, Learning all of the rules and turning turning the piece, whatever you're currently playing, whether it's 50 notes, 75 notes, 500 notes, giving those uh, notes a structure actually reduces the mental strain, because you might go from dealing with 500 notes to dealing with, let's say, 7 different chords. And if you're dealing with 7 different chords, you can actually start to have relationships between those chords, which means you're dealing with, let's say, 3 different kinds of relationships or 3 different functions. This helps us. This is the process of intellectualizing music, but it isn't about making it more complicated. It's about simplifying it, because rather than dealing with, again, hundreds of notes, you're instead dealing with a couple of different functions, um, and the interplay of those functions determines the piece. And those functions are actually constant among other pieces, and all of these concepts are constant across most of music if it's played on a piano. That's the thing. So these are known as piano fundamentals: your scales, your chords, and inversions, and then how all of those chords relate to each other. Um, I know it seems like a lot, but if you're curious about it, I strongly recommend checking out this page, because this is the lens, or this is the perspective that I generally take, and it's the approach that I go for whenever I'm personally learning a piece of music, and it's what freed up my music. That's the whole point. The reason that I learned all of this wasn't just to make all these videos; it was to find a deeper understanding of music, so that I could process it and that I could memorize it and that I could personalize it and say what I wanted to say musically. So there's a case for learning your basics, learning all the boring stuff.